peoples of the Arctic.
Very good. Where do they live?
They live in the Arctic.
And is it hot or cold up there?
Very cold.
And what do they live in?
They live in igloos.
Tell me about igloos.
There was a small igloo that would prevent the heating from going outdoor and make it cold inside. And then they would have a middle one that would hold all their clothes and some of their wood. And then there would be the big one, that's where they would sleep and cook their their food.
And how many people could live in a big igloo?
At least 2 families.
Good. And would they ever have small igloos?
Yes.
Why?
The hunters would make a small igloo in less than an hour.
And how long would it last for?
A couple nights.
Right. And how long would a big igloo last for?
6 weeks.
Good. Or what could they do to make it last longer?
They would put skins in the inside of the big igloo, what would make the warm air not touching the coldness.
Cool. And what would they put at the top of an igloo?
A hole that would let the smoke and some of the hot air get out.
Very good. And how did they build an igloo?
They would start with a special snow knife, and they would cut the snow like a dome and slowly go up.
Okay. And when a big one was built, how strong was it?
Strong enough that 4 men could stand on the top without it collapsing.
Very good. And how did they cook?
They would cook with rock metal lamps.
A soapstone lamp?
Soapstone lamp.
Uh-huh. And what did they put off over their pot?
They would put a racket over their lamp so that they could put their clothes over to dry them.
Over the pot, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay. And what did they fuel their lamp with?
Seal guts.
Right. Seal oil or seal guts. Good. And where did they live in the summer or the spring?
They lived in the summer. They lived in skin houses.
Houses?
Tents.
Good.
And in the fall, they would live in bone-made houses with some grass and dirt.
Right. Turf.
With some rocks, yeah.
Good. And what did they sleep on in their igloos? How did they make it so that it was warm?
They would put fur on top of a big block of ice, and then they would sleep in caribou sleeping bags.
Mm. And what did they hunt in the winter?
Mammals.
What kind of mammals?
Seals, walruses, and whales.
And why would they hunt for those? What did they use them for?
They used everything for clothes, thread, tools, boxes.
Good. And how did they hunt for, say, seals?
They would a hunter would go find a seal's breathing hole, and once he found one, he would put a bone or a feather at the top of the hole, and once it moved, the hunter would thrust a pin down.
A harpoon?
A harpoon down into the hole.
Very good. And on the land, what did they hunt?
They hunted caribou and deers.
And deers? Mm-hmm. And what was their special way of hunting for caribou?
They would put special stones and put children and mothers in between of the stones that would shape like a V, and once the children and mother would scale the caribou coming into the river, where men would surprise the caribou and start throwing bow and arrows and spears at the caribou.
Excellent. And what kind of flying things did they like to hunt?
They like to They would like to hunt birds.
Mhm.
That they would hunt birds with a rope called trison. What is it called?
A lasso
Lasso.
or a bola?
Bola, yeah. And anyways, the hunter would spin it around their head and throw it at a bird, and the bird wouldn't be able to fly, so it would fall down.
Very good. What kind of birds did they like to eat?
They like to eat
Quack, quack.
ducks, crows,
Crows?
No.
Ew. How about geese?
geese, ducks.
Yeah. Let's see here. What else? What kind of clothing did they wear?
They wear caribou shirts and pants,
Mhm.
and in the winter they would put a big jacket on top of them that was made out of a lot of caribou.
Right. And what did they use for the summertime? What kind of animal skin did they like for the summertime? No.
Seal skin.
Very good. And who would make them?
The mothers, and the mothers would also teach their children to sew and tell them stories.
Even the boys?
The boys would hunt with their fathers.
Ah.
Practice.
And what was their transportation, their way of getting around?
In a big boat.
Called could you describe it?
It was big, and it had big paddles.
Mm-hmm. What was the bottom like?
The bottom was where you had to row.
Yeah, but what was the bottom shaped like?
A dome?
A dome? No. Was it big or small? Was it big or small? The umiak, the big boat, was it a big bottom or a small bottom?
Big.
Right. And was it flat or rounded?
Rounded.
No, it was flat bottomed with an open top.
Oh.
Okay. And what were the paddles made out of?
Wood.
Or
Seal skin.
the bones covered with skin. That's right. And who used those umiaks?
The hunters. Anybody who had to go somewhere.
Oh yes, you're right. Men do. Who would hunt the whales, or also who? Did the women ever use them?
Yeah.
Why?
To get around.
With who?
The children.
Yeah, with their families. That's right. And what's one of their boats that they use that we also like to use as people?
Kayaks.
That's right. And then on the ground, what did they use?
They had dog sleds.
That would have been pretty cool to use, hey?
But usually the ice was so cold for the dogs' feet that the woman would make seal boots for the dogs.
Very good. And do you remember what a food cache is?
A food cache is where mother and the daughters would work for hours on making a hiding place for their food so that the animals wouldn't get it.
And how did they do that?
They would put bones and rocks on top of their food, like a little cave.
Very good. And what was some of the games they liked to play?
They liked to play with string, and you had to loop your fingers around and make figures. The obvious one was a dog and his sled.
Yeah, very good. And you and Michaela have been enjoying figuring out some of those string games, hey?
Yeah.
And do you remember what an inashuk is with the rocks?
An inashuk is 3 or 4 or 5 rocks put on top of each other.
And why? What did it resemble?
Families?
A human figure, yeah. And then do you remember what a shaman is?
Shaman.
Shaman.
A shaman had spiritual beliefs, and he could heal the sick.
Right.
A shaman could be a woman or man.
Oh, good. Very good. And what about their spiritual beliefs? What kind of beliefs did they have?
That they could heal anything.
Okay, but what about the people, the Inuit? What did they as people believe?
They believed that...
What did they like to honor? Do you
They
know?
like to honor the gods.
Okay. What did they, they believed in spirits, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they believed that they controlled the aspects of the environment, right?
Right.
And so, what would the spirit of the air control? Do you remember?
No.
Or the spirit of the sea?
The spirit of the sea would contain the bottom land, and the spirit of the air would contain the top land.
No. Spirit of the air controlled the wind and the weather. Remember? Because they were all about the environment, right? And the spirit of the sea controlled what?
The waters.
No, the mammals. The sea mammals. And the spirit of the moon?
Was it could take care of the sun, the stars, and
The land animals. So they were very big into honoring animals, right?
right.
Do you remember what they did when they killed an animal?
They would pray over it.
Yeah, and treat it with a lot of respect, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anything else you want to say?
No.
What have you been building outside?
We've been building a big igloo.
Should we show Mrs. Nola what your igloo looks like?
Okay.
Turn. Oh, is it too bright? Might be too bright. Oh, there it is.